Hello and welcome to another patch note video for the Bazaar. So we're patching again tomorrow, and as usual, I wanted to talk through our reasoning behind some of these changes. And as a quick reminder before we get started, if you ever see anyone on the internet quoting me or saying Raynad said, please know that that is almost always followed by a lie. I'd encourage you guys to watch videos like this, get info from us directly in regards to the game wherever possible. So let's jump into it. So we're patching here on February 5th. Let's go into the changes. Rit is hard to spawn right now because we got rid of the genie lamp, but you can still portal into him, I think. So just some small fixes there. Trying to make little things faster wherever we can. So the loot rewards, you won't have to click on them anymore. They'll just spawn straight to your stash. Updated the drop rate tables. This is a pretty big one. So there's been a table of probabilities behind the scenes that basically decides when different rarities of cards can spawn. And we think bronze items have been like representing too much of the drop table for too long, basically. So we're phasing bronze items out faster. Higher rarity things should be easier to find, especially mid and late game. And we'll see how that feels. We think now that we've had enough time to play it out with this loot table, we have a good feeling for where we want to steer it. And yeah, I think that'll be a step in the right direction. So hopefully that plays well. Let us know what you guys think with this change. So see, many items have had their scaling updated. So the game is overdue for a numbers pass across the board. We kept changing things throughout the process, and every once in a while, after you change a bunch of things, you sort of need to recalibrate all the numbers so they all follow the same paradigm, the same like scaling. So we've changed a lot of cards over the last few months, but we haven't finished a pass like that yet. This isn't a complete one. This is us testing a different type of scaling to some extent. We want the bronze items to be stronger in general compared to diamond items. A lot of items felt like they didn't make sense to run at all until they were like silver tier. So hopefully the combination of these two changes will swing that. So it used to be that a bronze item would be like 1/4 as strong as a diamond item, roughly. And with this new scaling paradigm, it should be closer to 1 to 3. So yeah, just a bump in strength and bronze numbers. The trade-off to this is that upgrades might feel a little worse. Like the amount that your item is improving per upgrade might not be as high in most cases because they're starting with a higher floor at bronze. So we'll see how that plays. We think it's a step in the right direction. So it should open up some more options early game, especially. So. All right, so you fix an issue where some level up rewards or provide XP like they were a regular encounter. Oops. Pearl's dig site being a merchant, some bug fixes. Right, so the enchantment altar level ups. Instead of showing you like 3 specific enchantments, which makes it really easy to cherry pick the best one, we want to try something where we give you the artist, which gives you a random enchantment, or one specific enchantment that we show you. So you can take the one that you rolled, or you can go to the artist and re-roll it. I think that'll play better. We'll see how that goes. Our team feels good about that change though. The arrow visual effect that Arbalist, Ballista, Javelin Longbow, Runic Double Bow use has been updated. You guys will see VFX getting improved in waves pretty much every patch. Hopefully you've been seeing some of that. But yeah, everything from visuals to performance should be seeing some improvements pretty regularly. Improved the implementation of the portrait click voiceover. This is something a lot of people don't know existed, even the ones that have played the game for a long time. If you click the merchant portraits, like the portrait on the other side of the table, it'll play extra voice lines. And it used to be you had to click it like 5 times before it would play the first one, so most people never found it. And now it's just going to be 1 click. And they play in the right order as well, which they didn't used to. So should make more sense. Some more voice lines for people to discover if they're interested in doing that. Let's see. Implemented caps on certain item attributes to prevent integer overflow. Yeah, Crane won't hit for 0 anymore, but should still I hope it still goes into scientific notation. I'm not sure what the cap is. We should see. All right, enchantment changes. We're continuing to improve the implementation of enchantments on many items. For example, yeah, so we've updated our enchantments. I've been talking about this for a while. There will be some amount of changes like this, most patches. There's just a lot of enchantment content in the game. We want to give those enchanted versions of items their own, bespoke design treatment wherever possible. But there are so many of them, of course, and we think this will play better. Basically, Toxic and Fiery is going to pay attention to the base output of the item. So kind of like how Shielded went from being a flat shield amount into shielding equal to the damage of the weapon that's shielded. Now that I say this out loud, this is hard to follow. But yeah, basically the Toxic and Fiery enchantments will now pay attention to the gem number of the other effect on the card and scale accordingly. So hopefully that feels like there are fewer enchantments that are duds, but we'll see. And it's definitely not done yet. Freeze, we've been meaning to rebalance the icy enchanted items for quite some time. Most of them are going to be size restricted in terms of what they can freeze moving forward. And yeah, I think that should make them a lot more in line. So we got some Arbalist fixes. Should be fine. Yeah, we're adding the toy type to a bunch of things. I think you guys already know about that one. Barrel's getting a nerf. Just needed a numbers pass mostly. Hopefully this is more reasonable. It might still be too good. We'll see. Let's see. Ballista. Sure. So this is just an example of like the scaling changes, right? Bayonet used to do like 5, 10, 20, 40. This one is more extreme. This was 1/8 as strong at diamond, but yeah, it's just upping the bronze power level, the silver power level sometimes, and lowering the diamond scaling in some cases. So just a bunch of numbers passes. You're going to see this across the board. I'll let other creators dig into this. You guys can let us know how you feel about this, but I don't have a ton to say on it other than these are number changes that are just always going to be happening, basically. Just as we get more games in, as we see players get more games in, it becomes easier and easier to identify patterns. But yeah, I think these are changes we've talked through. I think they'll all push the game in the right direction. It's never going to be perfect. Like, this is part of me worries we spend too much time on balance, because balance is in the eye of the beholder, and a lot of beholders are allergic to self-accountability, and so it has to be the game's fault when people lose. And so this is kind of like never something that's like fixed. Bunch of number changes for Vanessa, for every hero really. We'll see how these changes play. We were adding some toy tags across the board, but mostly dialing in numbers on a bunch of cards. And yeah, like I said, this is never something that's going to have a finish line. There will always be some amount of tweaks on the stuff that's overrepresented. But yeah, definitely feeling good about the balance overall and where it's headed. This patch, we have redesigned a couple items. Apropos Chapeau is a pretty cool one. We really liked how like Flagship plays, for example, in Weatherglass. And so Apropos Chapeau is gonna play kind of similarly. So it's like a Gonjo that multicasts a whole bunch. This item might be way too strong. We'll see how it plays. It is still somewhat slow, but I don't know. That's a lot of multicast. We'll see how that one does. See, adding the tech type to some stuff. This is one I'm pretty excited about. Beast of Burden. So we got the tech to add types to things dynamically, and so that's something we've been waiting for. This is pretty exciting. We get to rework Beast of Burden. There's a whole class of items like Beast of Burden and Regal Blade and all of these like scaling items, and they have this design problem where basically at a certain point of the game, like early on, they're auto pick, and then later on, you can't really consider them because it's like too late to buy them. You don't have time to scale them, and so that feels kind of lame. They're sort of balanced on this razor's edge of unplayable or OP, and it's hard to be anything but. And so it's okay to have a couple items that scale that way in the game. You know, like dog will probably always do that, and you know some others I'm sure. But we're looking at more fun designs for these items that let us just make them a consideration at different stages of the game more. So this Beast of Burden, you know, you're packing the camel. Every time you buy an item, Beast of Burden is going to gain the types from that item. And it's going to gain multicast for every type on it. So this might be way too strong. We also lowered the cooldown a good amount. It's not written here, but we'll see how this plays. I think it's more fun than just churning through items. The issue we're going to have this patch with it is we're still waiting on some tooltip tech. So this is going to be the frustrating part with this change, just for like a patch or two, is you won't be able to see all the tags that you have, because the tooltips we have right now don't let you show more than like 3 or 4 of them. And so once that's updated, you'll be able to see all the tags that this thing is acquiring. But we figured since we could have it mechanically work right, it's better to test it sooner rather than later and start dialing these numbers in. So we'll see how that goes. Got belt, gaining the apparel type. This is a subtype that's going to want you to have like one other apparel a lot of times. So that is a buff basically for belt. Not that it needed it. Let's see, boomerang. We're bringing boomerang back. This is one of the first pieces of art in the game ever, actually. This item has just been out of the game because we haven't had an effect on it that we've really liked. And all the cool boomerang stuff required custom technology. So that being said, it's a weapon, it's a toy, it deals damage. When you want to fight against a monster with this, get a random loot item. We're going to go with the monster hunting theme with this. We'll see how it plays. Hopefully people like that, but I don't know. We're willing to change this item and rework it if that doesn't feel great. So let's see. Some other small changes. Bootstraps is fixed now with the enchantments. So a lot of really impactful items you should see getting turned on increasingly more over time. Let's see. Gonjo. We buffed it. Or no, this is a scaling change. So we made the bronze version stronger, basically. But diamond is about as strong. So let's see. Gumball machine, Jabalian drum. We're reverting the loop change. You know, I think this is just simpler, cleaner, reads better. It's strong, but it plays well. Has a lot of synergy. It's a short line of text. I don't know. I don't like this. It's okay on Billboard because Billboard like sits there. On loop, it didn't quite feel right. So we're reverting loop. Should certainly be a buff to pig. Let's see. Marbles. Sure. Model ship. Adjacent toys have +1 multicast. So model ship is not just doing shield stuff anymore. We'll see how that plays. Multicast is powerful. So we want to make Pygmalion's item set more interoperable, so his items can work with more different items. And so you're going to see some tag creep, kind of like I was talking about in the last patch. So toys, apparel, a lot of things caring about them now. Again, this is just the first pass of this, so we'll see how those play. Let's see. Slingshot, snow globe. Snow globe's only freezing small or medium items now. A lot of the freezing effects in the game are going to get size restricted. Not all of them, but a lot of them. I think it's the cleanest way to balance a lot of those effects. Let's see. Stopwatch. Tusked helm. Yep. Pretty straightforward. Yeah, we'll see if Vineyard and Landscape are good enough still. These might need some more reworks, but we'll see. Oh, we have Overhealing. Awesome. Yeah, we were waiting on this tech for a long time to be able to overheal. And it took us quite some time to get this effect. So in the meantime, what we were doing is we put this effect on weights where if you heal while at full health, it charged. And it should have been when you overheal instead. We're just basically waiting for this. So now we have it. Now we can charge stuff. Yeah, not a lot to say about this. I think this is a timing we'll use a lot, like when you overheal. We'll see if it plays well, but I have a feeling you'll be seeing a lot more of this if it does. All right, fixed a bug with weights, triggering off other item users. Okay. Yo-Yo's a toy. All right. Down to Dooley. So Dooley's been stronger than the other heroes by a little bit, percentage-wise. I think that difference is more pronounced. Like, well, I don't know. Any hero can win, but Dooley definitely needed some nerfs. So a lot of the issue with Dooley's item set is just that it's in need of a numbers pass. He used to be quite underpowered and really synergy reliant, and sort of step by step we made different chunks of his card set playable and buffed a lot of stuff. And yeah, at this point, he's just quite strong. A lot of the items he has are just like a number off. It's like the cooldown's like 1 second too low and things like that. So, but yeah, in general, Dooley needs a numbers pass, and that's kind of the goal of a lot of this. So we'll see how it plays. Atomic clock down to 2 seconds. Oof. It's a lot of flavor lost. We'll see about that one. Maybe it should be 1 second and the output should be halved. I don't know. Anyway, let's jump into it. So some alpha ray numbers changes. This item is cracked, and hopefully this is a little more in line. Still very good, I think, but we'll see. Arc Blaster's numbers were just way too high, so cutting that down. Let's see, Barbed Wire. Not a huge change. Some Blast Doors balancing, getting that a little more in line. Bunker. All right, this is also tech we were missing. We wanted to do blanket damage reduction with Bunker from everything, like damage ticks, weapons, whatever. But we didn't have the tech to do this, so we had to sort of cheat it in the last patch. It was like when you take damage from an item, shield equal to the damage dealt. Now we do have blanket damage reduction, so that's what we're gonna do with it. We'll see if these numbers are good enough to prevent that damage from all sources. It's possible we need to buff this, but either way, we have this effect now, so we can dial it in pretty easily. Chris Army Knife. Some balance changes. Chrono Barrier. Non-tech items have their cooldowns increased by 1-2 seconds. Yeah, so we wanted to do kind of what we did with Fort, make this symmetrical, and tech is sort of the way you can build around it. Chrono Barrier has just been one of the highest win rate items in the game for quite a while. And yeah, it was, we gotta rein it in a little. So this is leading into his tech tag more. We'll see if that's enough. It should be more interesting to draft around at least, rather than just plopping it into whatever build and having it be really, really good. So combat core, overdue for a bit of a cooldown change. Condolences to the Dooley mains. So we've looked at the numbers on all of Dooley's cores. I hope these aren't too big of buffs early, but in general, the goal is to make them all playable. You know, all have a consideration in whatever build. Some of these are very big buffs, like weaponized core. You can see here, but we'll see how that plays. Did we lower the cooldown on these cores? I don't remember. I know this is one of the more impactful changes, and off the top of my head, I don't have all the details on it for you. It's a numbers pass basically on a handful of cores, and we're gonna see if we got it right. Let's see. Cyber security for each weapon or tech you have. All right. So this one's been reworked from being your only friend. He just wasn't seeing a ton of play, so this should be a good change. Scarf is now apparel. The shield numbers are more in line with our new scaling. Fiber optics is re-enabled. Oh boy. We're trying to nerf Dooley and we bring back one of his better items. Yeah, fiber optics is really good. We'll see how that fits in. Chlorance, when use a friend, gains damage for the fight. Yep. Just numbers changes. All right, claw arm. Big buff here. We'll see if it's enough. Cool LEDs needed a small nerf. Dinosaur is just going to be flat damage now. I think the scaling increases only. First Aiden. There's going to be riots in the streets. But he was too good. And he's kind of a symptom of like Dooley's cooldowns just being too low on a lot of areas. Like if you compare an item like Katana, which should be like one of the fastest items in the game, and you compare that to like a 4-second cooldown small item, it's just they're too fast. So a lot of Dooley is getting bonked, First Aid included, unfortunately. Let's see. Armadillo, we'll see if this nerf is enough. It's going to go up to an 8-second cooldown. There's a whole bunch of ways you can rework the numbers on Armadillo. I think 8 and 2 charge, 8-second cooldown, 2 charge is probably about right. We'll see how it plays. You could do 5 and 1. You could do, you could tweak the flat damage number. It all works. 8 and 2 feels about right for how often people are shielding. Induction Aegis. Slowed down a bit, but the numbers are tweaked. It is a nerf, but not because it was OP, but just because a lot of these 4-second small items needed slowing down. All right. Isocoric Freezer. Laser Pistol. I mean, if anything should be faster, like Laser Pistol could be a candidate for like a 4 or even a 3-second cooldown maybe. But yeah, we'll see. Mech Mole's getting a buff, long overdue. These guys have not been seeing much play. Missiles needed a nerf. I hope we didn't overdo the nerfs on Dooley here. It used to be that he just got run over early because the cores would get you run over early. But now with the core changes we have here, hopefully some of these make him a little more viable early on without being broken. So we'll see if we achieve that goal. This is a lot of numbers changes. Usually when we do a pass this big, it needs like, the next patch is going to have more numbers changes. I mean, every patch does, but if we missed anything, if anything's out of line numbers-wise, we'll address it quickly. So hopefully this isn't too far off, though. It should be a more balanced game than we had before, at least. Let's see, Nitrogen Hammer. So it's size restricted freezing now. It didn't used to be. And new scaling. We buffed Omega Ray? Huh. Why? I guess, yeah, I don't remember talking about this one. But yeah, we'll see about that one. We'll see about that one. Omega Ray definitely was not as strong as it used to be in this last patch, but not sure how weak it really was. We'll see. Pierre Conditioner, size restricted now. Can't stop nerfing this guy. Pulse Rifle down to 5 seconds. This item is just way too fast. Too easy to meet the condition. Again, like compare it to Katana. Pulse Rifle's not okay. Vanessa should be the more aggressive hero compared to Dooley. Let's see, we got Rocket Launcher. Downshifted to Bronze. Okay. So you'll be seeing more Rocket Launcher. We redesigned schematics. When you level up, get a random tech item. We'll see if that one plays well or not. Some more numbers changes. Water Cooler now starts at silver. And he gains a little more max HP early on, so hopefully that plays well. But yeah, it's mostly numbers changes. It looks like a lot's changing because you see so many items here, but really the vast majority of this is an update to the number scaling between tiers. So most items are going to have the same effect as before. Let's see, we got Agility Boots gaining the apparel type. Multiplying crit chance by 25. Huh. Oh my. Let's see, in the apparel type, Dragon's Breath, Dragon's Whelp. Just going to skim here. A lot of types being added. Teddy pays attention to toys now. He didn't used to. Eclipse is now tech. Makes sense. Fixed bugs or golden chamber 7. Okay. Cool. Well, for the most part, it's numbers changes for the heroes, but some interesting reworks that we're eager to get feedback on. So moving into skill changes, mostly this is going to be balance as before. Some of it is just tiering things more appropriately so that the skills are showing up at the right stage of the game. Dual wield, Mr. Moo's skills getting reworked. We're going to try this. If you have exactly 2 weapons, 50 crit chance. It should be easier to make use of if you win the skill. Let's see. Waters of Infinity. Sure. Cryo Mastery. Yeah, that's way stronger. So some monster skills and such getting buffed. Building Crescendo. Look, we were planning to nerf this skill this patch, like for a while, and a Crip linked me this Reddit post where people were really angry about this skill and they really wanted it nerfed. And my response was like, well, we were about to nerf it, but now like it almost certainly can't be the right thing to do. So I still feel that way. This is probably a mistake in a way that I'm not seeing yet. But either way, we will turn the numbers down. We might revert this. The fact that Reddit suggested it means that this was the wrong solution, but we'll try it. Hopefully it's not unplayable. I think it should still be all right. We'll just get a feel for it. So, Poison Tyrant fixed an issue where Poison Tyrant's regen did not trigger off opponent poison. Sure. Fixed an issue. Yep. Some bug fixes. Remembers how to use Octopus correctly, gaining 50 base damage on it. Oh. All right. So yeah, a pretty subtle patch this time around. The one thing here that I'm not seeing listed. Well, let me actually pause this recording and see. The last thing I want to talk about is our Legend Ranked mode. That's something we've been meaning to update for some time now, and we'll finally be able to either in this upcoming patch or the one right after that. Probably the one after the patch after tomorrow is my guess, because I don't see it in the patch notes here. But the way that we're changing Legend Ranked mode is to only count your wins. It's not going to pay attention to your losses or your opponents anymore. And our first version of this should be coming in here, like I said, either tomorrow or the patch after that. We're eager for feedback on that system from Legend players. One of our concerns with our first implementation of what we're about to try is that it might reward playtime too much. But we'll see. We have to really just run it in the wild and see how the numbers play out. And it's super easy to edit from this point on if we wanted to, once again, make a change there. So just as a heads up, the Legend ranks will be reset. And with that new system coming in, we're eager for feedback to see how that plays. So yeah. Anyway, that's most of what I had today. Thank you all for tuning in to another patch note video. Mostly balanced passes this time around, some reworks, some new content. So hopefully you guys have fun with it. Let us know what you think, and I'll see you soon with another update video for the Bazaar.